People's National Party Media Unit.
This is Phillip Paulwell, Member of Parliament and Opposition Spokesperson on Energy, and I'm speaking on behalf of every Jamaican who went to bed in the dark last night. At 9:02 p.m. on Friday, June 5, 2026, this entire nation lost power. Every parish, every household, every business. The JPSCO confirmed a system failure was responsible, and full restoration is still ongoing. 12 hours and counting. 12 hours. Jamaicans deserved far more than a promise of patience. What happened? Was this lightning? Could it have been a cyber attack? We need answers. What makes this unacceptable is that we have been here before. After a similar island-wide outage in August 2016, a formal probe was ordered and recommendations were submitted to the Office of Utilities Regulation. 10 years on, one urgent question remains unanswered. Were those recommendations ever implemented? Jamaicans cannot be asked to simply endure darkness and move on. The OUR must account for what was done with the 2016 recommendations. If they were implemented, why are we here again? If they were not, who is responsible for that failure of oversight? I'm calling on the OUR to issue an urgent public report and on JPS to publish a full, transparent account of Friday night's failure. When will that determination be made public? Because if we are genuinely building back with resilience, last night was a complete contradiction of that claim. The cost falls hardest on ordinary Jamaicans. Businesses lost revenue, families lost food, airports were in darkness, hospitals strained under emergency conditions. This cannot become a cycle of failure, probe, silence, and repeat. Accountability is not optional. It is owed.
Visit our website.
Depression in the Eastern Pacific, and we're going to talk about how some of these factors could perhaps move into the Atlantic Basin coming up. But also, by the way, we have tropical depression. Amanda, was a tropical storm, continues to weaken, no threat to land at all. But let's talk about our newly named tropical depression 2E. It was an invest, now it's tropical depression moving northeast at 6 miles per hour. One thing you can see is all the flow of that tropical moisture and convection on land. So heavy rain, flooding could be the lingering calling card with this system. And then to the south and kind of east-southeast of there, we have another invest, 92E. This has a 70% chance of developing over the next 2 days. Again, the other depression had a 90% chance just an hour ago before it was upgraded. Bottom line, we're seeing a lot of activity. So we could have Boris on our hands momentarily here sometime in the next 24 hours or so, and maybe even Christina. So, don't get caught up in just the names. We're talking about impacts here, the impacts of the heavy rain that both of these systems will be bringing across Central America and parts of Mexico here by the tune of maybe a half foot to a foot and a half of rain. That has, life-threatening implications to it. But all that tropical moisture continues to kind of burble and kind of bubble up here. Not much happening across the Caribbean or the Gulf yet. We do have some Saharan dust in the air that's limiting some of the stuff, but this model, this is the European model, just one of several models we watch. This one is taking that second invest area and holding that spin together, bringing more rain into Central America, then eventually merging that spin into the Bay of Campeche and eventually keeping it in the Western Gulf and maybe approaching parts of South Texas. Again, just one model, but there are a lot of things helping and hindering it. Helping the lack of Saharan dust in this part of the Atlantic Basin here. But what's hindering it is going to be shear. As it moves into the Bay of Campeche, we'll actually see a lack of shear as we head on towards the latter part of the week. Hence, right about Thursday or so, we could see some development on Friday. And then as you head towards the weekend, as it approaches the U.S., shear will help kind of limit anything that could develop. So, again, we're in hurricane season, and on average, we do see our first name system in it's the Eastern Pacific on the June 10th. We've been there and even earlier. But in the Atlantic Basin, again, the beginning of a long 6-month season. So we're here, but we have a long way to go, including the peak, which is still several months away. Have a new tropical depression in the eastern Pacific.
Release from the People's National Party Media Unit.
This is Ian Hayles, Member of Parliament for Western Westmoreland and the opposition spokesperson on water. Jamaica, we have a crisis. The recent island-wide power outage has left thousands of our fellow citizens without access to water, and this government must answer for it. Across this country, the National Water Commission treatment plants have shut down because they remain almost entirely dependent on the Jamaica Public Service grid. We saw this same devastation in Western Jamaica during Hurricane Melissa, and yet when the minister had the opportunity to act during the budget presentation, he offered this nation absolutely nothing new. It is the same old, same old. Ordinary Jamaicans are paying the price daily. This is not a minor oversight. This is a governance crisis, one that threatens public health, our tourism sector, and the daily lives of the people in communities across the island. I am therefore calling on this government to immediately implement a policy shift, moving critical infrastructure onto solar and advanced renewable technology, and deploying generators now to our tourism corridors, our residents' communities, and our most heavily populated areas also. We cannot continue to hold this nation hostage to a single point of failure. The people of Jamaica deserves better, and this opposition will not rest until they get it. This government needs to table a comprehensive energy resilience plan for the water sector within the current parliamentary session. This is Ian Hayles, opposition spokesperson on water.
The following is a release from the People's National Party Media Unit.
This is Zuleika Jess, opposition spokesperson on justice. I am coming to you today because I have run out of patience, and Jamaica should too. The fatal police shooting of an unarmed woman in Granville, St. James is not an isolated mishap. It is a devastating symptom of what is now appearing to be policing culture that treats our citizens as targets first and human beings last. We are tired of the cookie cutter press releases. We are tired of interdiction, which is not accountability, but time off after pulling a trigger. The numbers do not lie. Indicom data shows that 130 persons have already been shot and killed by security forces this year. When police killings rise while convictions of rogue officers remain microscopic, the system is not failing by accident. It is protecting rogue officers by design. So let me be clear. I am demanding the immediate, non-negotiable implementation of body-worn cameras on police officers, especially during planned operations. It is an absolute disgrace that in this modern era, fatal encounters continue without cameras. Body-worn cameras provide objective evidence to preserve life, protect public confidence, and stop the he said, she said that follows these executions. If nothing wrong is being done, then there should be nothing to fear. The Granville killing must be the breaking point. We will no longer accept inaction. The police cannot serve, protect, and reassure in the dark. The truth must be recorded. This is Zuleika Jess. Enough is enough.
Visit